Hello, welcome back to Learning with Tess. Today we're tackling one of the most useful and most asked about functions in Excel, VLOOKUP. So by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to pull information from one table into another automatically without a single copy-paste. So let's jump in. So here's the situation. I've got two sheets open. Well, actually I have one here. But I have two sheets in this workbook. We have products and orders. Products, which is our reference table with product ID, product name, category, and unit price. And orders lists sales but only has the product ID, as you can see on the third column, not the product name, not the price or category. Instead of manually looking up each product and typing in the details, we're going to let VLOOKUP do it for us. VLOOKUP stands for vertical lookup. It searches down the first column of a table for a value you give it and returns a value from another column in the same row. In this case, what we want is the product name, but we'll go to that later. The formula has four parts. So if you will type here VLOOKUP, you will see that there are four parameters in the function. The lookup value, what do you want to look up? So here we would like to see the product ID as referenced in the products sheet. And then where will we get the information or the data? So that's the table array. So here we will get the information or the data from products sheet. And then the column index number. In the products sheet, once the product ID is located, what do you want to display? So we have to look at the column number. So this is column 1 and this is column 2. We want the product name. Later on, we'll get the category, we'll get the unit price, but for the first part, we'll get the product name. And the last one, okay, is the range lookup value, which is a Boolean value, which can either be true or false. If we want an exact match of the product ID, the value should be false. But if you just want an approximation, the value is true. So these are the four parameters of the VLOOKUP function. Alright? So again, the lookup value is the thing that we're searching for. In our case, the product ID in the orders sheet. The table array is the range we're searching in. That's our products table. And then the call index num parameter, which column counting from the left of the table holds the answer that we want. And the range lookup is false for an exact match. Alright, so let's build this together. So let me just remove this. I'm now in cell C6. So we have here C6, that's our lookup value. The product ID in this row is P004. So what we want to do is put VLOOKUP, the product ID. All we have to do is click on that, and then we'll go to the products sheet. We'll have to highlight the whole of this, but before going to the next parameter, we have to put a $sign on the row and the column. So we have to put that, and then a comma. The next one is the index number or the column index number, which is the product name. The product name, we just have to get the column number, which is 2, the second one. That means this is what we want to return. And then next is false. Okay, if you'll enter that, we now have P004 water bottle, P004, and it is correct. Now we can go to the unit price. We can still use the VLOOKUP formula that we entered earlier. We just need to copy the formula, and instead of column 2, we would like column 3. And similarly, instead of column 3, we'll have column 4 for the category. And then the last one is just a formula of the quantity, and oops, looks like the unit price should be here. So let me replace this with 4, and then let's replace this with 3. So that means we have to change the total sale for that item. And then all we have to do is to drag everything down, and we have all the data. As simple as that. And then we can sum this up to get the total sale. Alright, now let's just talk about the common mistakes. The common mistakes that people commit when looking or when using the VLOOKUP formula. The first one is they forget the dollar sign. When we forget the dollar sign, that means you did not lock your table range. That means if you will shift to the next row, it will shift as you copy the formula down and start pulling wrong data or errors. That means you might skip some parts of the table. So you have to always remember to include the dollar sign. The second one is using true instead of false. If you do this, true will give you an approximate match. Sometimes it's useful for things like tax brackets, but it's risky if you're looking for the exact ID or name. But when you're in doubt, it would be better to use false. Another one, a common mistake, is the lookup column isn't the first one. Meaning, in our case, in this example, the product IDs we want to look up in the reference table, the product ID should be in the first column. If you put that in the next column, there will be a problem. So the reference table should always have the product ID that you are searching, and it will return the corresponding whatever you want to return, like in our case, product name, unit price, and category. And if you see NA errors, like for example, we'll remove let's put, let's say, 5 here. So this one is not an NA error, it's a referencing error. But let's say we'll just remove this, the dollar sign here. No, not this one. Let's remove it here. So let's remove the dollar sign. And we'd like to copy everything again. So you'll see NA, NA, NA. So that means there's an NA error, and sometimes this happens. And if you want the NA to be removed, what we can do is you wrap the VLOOKUP formula in an if error So if error function, and then you have your VLOOKUP, the one that we discussed, and then what will be shown if it is an error. So you can put not found. In this case, maybe, okay, sorry about that. Let's remove this. So if I want this to show not found, if error VLOOKUP, okay, and we'll put not found, it will show not found. See? So you can control what will be displayed if you put an if error function there. So you can try this yourself. You can set up a practice sheet, and you can work on the product ID, product name, whatever you want to see. So and that's VLOOKUP. You now know how to pull data across sheets like a pro. No more manual copy paste. We did the manual copy paste with the formula, but with regard to the content of the database or the table, we didn't do that. So if this helped you out, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more Excel lessons, and drop a comment if there's a feature you want covered next. I'm Tess, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Keep learning!